Hey everybody, it's your girl Nat Martin, and I just want to come on here today with getting out of my head and letting you guys know how I became a veteran. So, one of the things is that I am originally from Newark, New Jersey, and growing up in Newark, New Jersey, I was raised by my grandparents. And being raised by my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, it was a village. If you are 80s baby, growing up in the 90s, everybody raised you pretty much. But a part of my journey of how I became a veteran was that my entire life, I was always in honors classes. I was always the top of my class. I was always a part of some type of gifted program. And coming from the hood or coming from an environment where a lot of opportunities wasn't always presented, we always thought that I was just going to get all these scholarships and that I'll be going to college and, full scholarships. Like she's going to get this and that. Well, I left home when I was 13 years old. I left home when I was 13 years old to go to Manchester, Vermont. I was an exchange student to participate in a program that brought diversity to this school. If you haven't been to Manchester, Vermont, it's pretty much all whites. And they had a student come from out the country, from different countries. And unfortunately, I was a part of the diversity of bringing African Americans to the school. So I left at 13. I started high school. I lived in a house full of people I didn't know. I lived in a house with people from other countries. Um, and I embarked on my journey. And so my senior year, I wanted to come back home to New Jersey. A lot of things had transpired. I had lost my grandfather, which was very devastating for me, but I didn't realize the effects that it had on me because if you grow up in my type of community or my culture, when people pass away, no one really talks to the children about how are you feeling? Are you okay? Like they barely know how to keep themselves up abreast. So let alone talk to the kids, right? So I happened to be one of those kids that he was the anchor for me. And it was like, okay, I just didn't want to participate in anything anymore. I quit all the sports. I mean, I played basketball, I was on a dance team, I played softball, I was in musicals, I did ham radio because I'm something like a nerd. um, I did everything. I played hacky sack. I was a skateboarder. Like anything you could do, I could do better. It was like, let's go. But I participated in a lot of activities in my senior year. I just stopped everything. I didn't participate in anything my senior year. And when I went back home to New Jersey, we had relocated from Newark, New Jersey to Irvington, New Jersey. And I had to attend the high school that was in our township. So now I'm not able to go to any of the schools in Newark because our address has changed. And the school in that township, it's not the best school, okay? It's just literally not. It was to paint the picture for you guys. If you watched Lean on Me, yep, that's my school. And so um was it challenging? No. But when you grow up in an environment, you kind of become accustomed to the environment that you're in. However, as far as the opportunities and the growth of where I'm supposed to go with my life, it wasn't probably the best decision or best solution for the track record of where I'm going and how I was accomplishing things in my life thus far. So I went to the school. I had completed all of my classes and credits that I needed to graduate except English and gym. So, of course, you know what they did. They loaded up my schedule with BS, literally. I took AP Psych, I took AP Calculus, I took fashion design, I took photography, I was in drama, gym, but somehow I stayed in gym like 4 periods out the day. But it was just a joke to me. I wasn't even going to my English classes because the books that they were reading, I read that my freshman year in Vermont. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, and then you weren't even allowed to bring books home. it was just like shell shock. I was like, "Where am I? How did I land here?" Um, However, I met some great people and I had some awesome teachers as well that had impacted my life. And to be honest, one of those great women that had impacted my life was my psychology teacher and Miss Owens, Queen Latifah's mom. She she wasn't even she wasn't even my teacher. I don't even know how that works. Like, I didn't take her class, but I was always in her class. Again, the senior year was a joke for me. Long as I turned in my homework and passed, it was like I don't need to be there to I already know everything. And so when it came time for me to apply for college, I submitted all my applications. I just knew I had dreams, goals, and aspirations. I was like, I'm coming to Atlanta, I'm going to Spelman, or I'm going to go to Temple. And like, I just had dreams and goals. And when I got my acceptance letters, they were crushed. My acceptance letters did not say you've been accepted, it was incomplete application. And I'm like, why? I don't understand. Now, granted, I thought it was something I did wrong, but nope, I didn't do anything wrong. Because of the school and the environment, they didn't send our transcripts. So it wasn't just me, it was other people that had information that wasn't submitted. And so one of my teachers, again, my psychology teacher, she's like, I'm going to help you figure this out. So I'm like, I was just devastated. Like, I'm not going to be able to start school in the fall. Like, everybody's going to go to school in the fall. So she's like, no, we can get you for spring semester. And I'm like, okay, all right. So she's going to help me out because, yes, I have a mom and I have a dad, but my mom was in the streets, in and out of the streets. My dad was in and out of the streets in New York. I had nobody to help me figure out all of the logistics that like a parent will help you figure out to do. And my grandmother, listen, guys, such a dynamic character in my life. She just reminded me that she wasn't paying for college. That's all I could hear my entire senior year was, "I'm not paying for you to go to college. I'm not paying for you to go to college." And because I am very headstrong and I had a belief of where I wanted my life to be, I kept saying, "You don't have to. I'm not even gonna ask you to. I will figure it out." And I think that's when I adopted the "I'm gonna figure it out, and I don't care what anybody else says" method. And it's pretty much lasted me like that my whole life. And so once I figured out that I needed a FAFSA, and because I graduated high school at 17, so I'm a high school graduate, but I'm not an adult. Like, does that even make sense? Like, I graduate high school at 17, but I can't make adult decisions. Like, can we reverse this? Can we make this make sense or something? So I couldn't fill out the fast for myself. So I needed her. And she's like telling me she didn't want to do it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm not asking nobody for anything because again, I don't need you to do anything that you don't want to do. And that's for anybody. And I was like that as a kid, like, okay, I'm not gonna ask you again. And so I was like, all right, I gotta figure this out. So in the meantime, my psychology teacher, she helped me get a job. She helped me get a job working with kids because again, my heart has been the same as I am now. I just wanted to help, and help people come from where I come from, help them see that you can still be a blessing to others, even though the circumstances and the situations may seem chaotic and crazy. And so I started working with the kids and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And everything was kind of like, no true direction as to what my future was going to be. And it was like I was getting up, just operating. And I was enjoying life. Like you guys know, Nat Martin gonna have fun, whatever she do. I'm gonna bring light to everybody's world. But one of the things that I remember was that I graduated high school, so I was excited. I remember I was dating this young man at the time, and he brought excitement into my life. We're still friends all the way to this day. So we were locked in, connected. And then I had friends that I truly enjoyed spending time with. So it was just like, okay, this is life, everything's good to go. And so one day I woke up and everything seemed to spiral a little bit. It was spiraling a little bit faster than I can like take control. And the spiral was me and him. We kind of weren't seeing eye to eye. So we kind of distanced ourselves a little bit. And then I noticed I started hanging around some different groups of people and started dating a different type of guy. And I just started feeling different. And I just woke up one day and was like, wait a minute, this is not it. This is not my life. Like, hold up. Wait a minute. We're not going down this route. This is not it. This is not how you got into this point. So we're not going to do that. So I sat down one day and I was like, okay, what's an alternative method? Like, I know I want to travel the world and I'm supposed to help people all around the world. I knew that as a kid. I knew it. I'm like, but how am I going to do that? And so I wanted to go to school, but I'm like, okay, I could wait till I'm 18 and then apply for the FAFSA on my own. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? And so um, I remember when I was in Vermont, this recruiter came to our school, and I went to the briefing to get out of class. Like I didn't want to be in class, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. And it was this guy. Crazy white boy. Oh my God. Billy Nichols. If you're out there, I haven't talked to this guy since high school, but he was crazy, but crazy fun. Like such a dynamic character. But a lot of people didn't talk to him, but I did. He was just explosive and um just out there. Let's just say that. But he went to the briefing and he's like, come. And I was like, okay. So we went to the briefing. I had no intentions on going to the military. Not at all. Because in my mind, I'm going to college. I'm going to be doing this, this, and that. I'm gonna be dancing. I'm gonna be like, it was just, I didn't think nothing about the military. My goals at that time in high school was that I wanted to play in the WNBA. I wanted to be a model. I was gonna be a model that played basketball, but modeled on the side. And then I wanted to be an astronaut. And again, I'm going to space. Like I'm just gonna go to space and report live and tell everybody what's happening in outer space. That was what I used to say when I was a kid. So I said, okay, well, that was in Vermont. So I'm like, well, how do I find a recruiter here? Because I'm in New Jersey now. So I don't even know, like, if someone told me where the office was, or because we didn't have smartphones then. We didn't have, this is 2001, y'all. We did not have, I had got my first cell phone when I graduated high school. So it wasn't like the age of the internet for me, right? So basically, I found the recruiter and I just told him, I said, hey, I need to figure out a way. I got to figure out something quick. And I want to be able to make my own, I need money. I need to make some money. I want to travel the world, and I want to be able to take care of my family. Like, can you do that for me and go to school? So he was like, yes, absolutely. I got you. So I took the ASVAB test, which a lot of you don't know. The ASVAB test is the test that you take to see if you qualify for military service. So I take the ASVAB test. I don't even remember what I scored, but it wasn't, I don't think it was high, but it wasn't low, low. But either way, I qualified. And so I took the test, qualified. He's like, did you study? I'm like, no, I just took the test. I told you I need something quick. I need to get out of here. So went to the MEPS, which is the military entrance processing station where you take your medical physical. Went there, And I was scared because it was in New York. And he was telling me like sometimes people come up here, they don't qualify. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to get out of here. So I I'm already militant in my mind. I'm already disciplined because whatever they asked me, I did. Whatever the rules was, I follow. So I'm like, this is easy breezy. This is, let's do it. So all of that said and done, and we had a roadblock, y'all. Told you I graduated at 17. Here we are, where now I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to say, yep, I'm joining the United States Air Force and I'm about to be out. But I can't do that because I'm a high school graduate, but I'm not a whole adult yet. So I can't even sign myself up to join the military at 17, even though I graduated high school. So he's like, we need your parents' signature. And I was like, my parents' signature? Well, my parents, they all over the place. Like, why we need this? I'm grown. I have graduated. In my mind, I'm grown. And so I had to go back to my grandmother and I had to ask her permission to join the military. Now, at the time, I done moved out of the house because we were already going back and forth. We were not on the same alignment. We just wasn't. But I already said as a kid, when I graduate, I'm going to move out. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to be helping people. I'm going to be doing all these things. Now, I just did not know the A to B to C to D, but I just knew it was in me. So I go back, I talk to my grandmother, and I think I really don't even know what her initial reaction was. I can't remember. But I know she's like, "You want to do what?" And I'm like, "I'm joining the Air Force." And I remember her asking me, "Are you sure?" She said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I said, "Yes, I want to join the Air Force." And so she agreed to sign the papers. And I was like, "Oh, well, that went easy peasy because I just knew she was going to say no." I was like, she going to say no. I'm like, she's not going to be with this. She probably going to say, nope, she ain't going to this. So I was prepared to wait till I turned 18, but I was like, okay. So I told my recruiter, I said, listen, the only thing that I want is that I want to wait to leave until after I turn 18. I don't want to leave home yet until I'm 18 years old. So he said, no problem. Took the test, took the physical, I passed. He's like, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I looked up some of the jobs. And I was like, I want to be an air traffic controller. Like, again, I'm trying to get to outer space. Like, I have to get to outer space. What's the closest thing to outer space? We got to get in the sky. We gotta see what's going on up there. So I was like, I want to be an air traffic controller. And he's like, okay, let's see what you qualify for. So when I was at MEPS, they told me, can't be an air traffic controller. And I was like, why not? Well, it's this thing called depth perception. I have none, like absolutely none. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't look up anything else because when I'm dead set on something, I'm dead set on it. I mean, it's no other option. I want to do it. This is what I want to do. So they was like, we got something for you. They said, aerospace control and warning systems. I said, what? What is that? I don't even know what that means. It said, you'll be air traffic controller. I said, oh, for real? Okay, well, I'll do that. So it's slight different, y'all. It's slight different, but in the same concept. I became a controller. I controlled you control fighter jets. So F-16s, F-15s, F-22s, F-35s. So you become the eyes of the skies. And I was like, ooh, that's boss. I want all of that. Like, yes. Mind you, 17-year-old Nat, she just like, oh, she about to take over the world. So they gave me my job. I had a date to leave in September. And so, because my birthday was September, I was turning 18 in September. And I was like, after my birthday, I don't care what day it is, but after my birthday, I could leave. So everything was smooth. I came back home. I was preparing to leave. I'm just counting the days down. And all of a sudden, something major happened. Man. I was laying on the couch and I was watching a movie, HBO, bait actually. And the house phone was ringing. It's my grandmother. And she's screaming. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's early in the morning. Like, what? I mean, she had just left for work and I had just took my cousins to school. So I was off of work. I'm chilling. I'm on the couch. Like, don't bother me. I got the house to myself. Leave me alone. And she's like, you got to get the kids. You got to get the kids. And I'm like, huh? And so I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what's happening? That's when she said, are you watching TV? And I said, yes. I was watching HBO. HBO never turned the movie off. So I clicked the channel, and that's when I witnessed and watched a plane go into the Twin Towers. And I was like, what is this? Is this I thought it was a movie. And my grandmother's like, it's real. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand. So I run outside. I look up in the sky and I see it's like just dark. And I'm like, what? So I run back in the house. I'm like, oh my God, this is like what? Like I was just confused as to what is happening. So she told me to go get the kids out of school. So my little cousins, we all live together, so a village, it's a village of us. So my aunt and the kids live with us, and then I have my siblings. So I had to go pick them up from school. So I get to the school, I pick all of them up, and I'm trying to get home. And I stop to get them something to eat. And we have up north, we have these things called chicken shacks. And so when you go to the chicken shacks, it's normally owned by Arabs. And so you go in the chicken shack, and I'm trying to just get a two-piece chicken, a two-piece chicken meal, with fries for them each. And I'm in there, I order our food so I can hurry up and get them home. And these men just ran inside and they were screaming at the guy behind the glass. And then it was just a lot of commotion. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in front of my cousins and they're little, like my cousins are little at the time. And so I'm like, hey. And the guy was lashing out at the Arab because I guess on the news it was saying that there was Muslims that flew into the building. So I'm like, no, like stop. Like he was trying to, like they were trying to break the glass and stuff. And I'm just like, we got to get out of here. But I'm like, I just stood up and said, no, this is not right. Like this man has been here with us. I come to the same chicken shack every day. We leave school, we all go to the same chicken shack every day. Like for the last year, I've been in the same place every day. He has always been nice to me. He has always been like we had no problems. But just because of someone did something else, he didn't do it. So he gave us our food and he said, get home, get home. And I'm like, "Oh my god." So now I'm like, "This is crazy. Like, we gotta get home." So we get the food, we leave out the store. And I think he ended up closing the store down because when I was trying to get home, people was panicking, y'all. Like people was running. It was it was interesting. So I get home, I call my grandmother, I let her know we home, like we're home. So then the panic began because my dad lives in New York. My brother was in New York because um was he I can't remember if he was there that day, but again, he has friends in New York. My aunt, my uncle, they work in New York for Amtrak, which is, with the trains like underground. So my grandmother's like, she can't get in touch with him. So we're trying to call. I'm trying to call everybody. No signal. No no signal. And so I'm just like, okay, long as me and the kids is in the house, we're good. Waiting for my grandmother to come home, waiting for my aunt to come home, waiting for someone to hear from my aunt, my uncle, my brother, my dad, like just waiting. Um, but as we wait and I'm watching the news and I'm like, wow, what is happening? And all I could think about was what's about to happen because I just signed up for the United States Air Force. So, does this mean I'm about to be a part of a war? Like, I'm 17. I don't know what that means. And so, um, after that happened, days went by, contacted my recruiter because I was freaking out a little bit. I was like, whoa, I don't know what's going on, you know. And so my date got pushed back. So he pushed my date back because after that event on 9/11, there was a lot of threats still taking place. Um, we couldn't get into New York. I had to go back to MEPS. I forgot why, but I had to go back up there. We couldn't get across the bridge. They had locked the bridge down a couple of times because of numerous threats. Um, so it pushed my date back to that November. So I'm like, okay, that gave me more time to like mentally prepare because I kind of was just like, I didn't think this through. Like I wasn't backtracking and I wasn't going back on my decision. I just had to think it through a little bit and like really make sure I'm prepared for whatever I'm about to sign up for. And so I left for basic training November 13th, 2001. And I became a trainee in the United States Air Force. And I remember my day, the last day when I went to the hotel in New York. Um, we had a ball. Okay, let me tell you something. Nat Martin at 17 and Nat Martin at the age I am now, she has fun, whatever she does. And so I literally we had all left the hotel. And again, I think they probably told us not to leave the hotel, but it's our last day before we go to basic training. So we left. We went. We ate at was it Applebee's, and everybody isn't going to different military branches. Everybody was different ages. So we left and we was inside of Applebee's. And again, this girl got a cute little face. So this guy, he was trying to talk to me. Again, did he know I was 18? I don't know. But older guy was trying to talk to me. And when he was, trying to talk to me, he told me he had a stretch limo outside. And I'm like, a stretch limo? Like, you don't have no stretch limo outside. He's like, you want to see it? I said, no, 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 not by myself. I got my crew. Like, let me and my crew get in the stretch limo. And sure enough, we in the stretch limo, y'all. We go outside. There's a stretch limo outside. I'm like, what? So we all inside. We taking pictures. And mind you, this is the time where we had the disposable cameras. So I had my disposable camera and we taking pictures. And I said, wow, that was so much fun. The next day, we at the airport. We're leaving to go to basic military training. I'm in the airport and I'm like, okay. They said we ain't gonna have no candy, no snacks. Okay, I gotta load up before we get on this flight. And so walking through the airport, waiting for the flight, I'm walking around and guess who I run into? I run into Method Man. So I run into him and he gave us a hug. He talked to us. I told him what I was about to do. Like, yeah, I'm going to the Air Force. We're about to go right now. Like, because he was like, you doing what? And I'm like, I'm going to the Air Force. And he's like, And it was so funny because he was walking around with, I think it was a PlayStation in his arm. He had a PlayStation, he had a book bag. And he's like, "You better be safe." I said, "I am." And so he walked off, gave me a hug. And then we got on that plane. And when we got off the plane in San Antonio, Texas, we're walking through the airport, we're laughing, we're joking, we just ha ha he he. We walked past this group. It was like a group of people, and they was sitting Indian style, like face forward. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, Texas is different. So we walking. Next thing we know, we hear this voice of God. It was like, I don't even know what they said, but what it was, it just paralyzed our body. We could not move. Like, oh my gosh, is he talking to us? And we all turned around and boom, it was a TI. It was a drill sergeant, y'all. And I was like, oh, okay. This just got real. Basically, we became just like them kids sitting Indian style, face forward, silence. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, here we go. So we sitting in there, we're waiting for the transportation, and these drill sergeants going in. They just, I mean, big. Just, I'm like, okay, I'm not afraid. I'm a gangster. I'm not afraid. So we get to the base, got our bags, we get off the base, they yelling, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I'm like, okay, I got this, I got this. So I kept telling myself in my head, you got this, you got this, you got this. And so I get off and the drill sergeant get real close in my face. I mean, real close, y'all. And he asked me my name. No, no, no. He said, where are you from? I said, I'm from New Jersey. And wrong answer. Wrong answer for two reasons. Wrong answer because to speak to a drill sergeant or a TI in the United States Air Force, you better have a reporting statement. Well, my recruiter failed me. He did not tell me about a reporting statement. So I just answered the question. Oh, he liked to have fun with me. He lit me up. Then I forgot these other words called yes, sir. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, my recruiter failed me. He didn't tell me about a yes, sir. No, sir. Not to say I've never said those words, but probably been a bit useful to say, hey, make sure you better say if anything else. Nope. Then the third fault was, oh, you from New Jersey? Oh, this is Miss Attitude. And I was like, huh? My face was so confused. I was just like, I don't know what just happened. Like one moment you was just sitting here following instructions. And the next moment, all I knew was that my back was to the wall and I had 5 drill sergeants in my face. And I'm just like, okay, you got this. They can't touch you. They can't touch you. That's all I kept telling myself. They can't touch me. They can't touch me. They touch me, it's on. Mind you, I was probably like 90 pounds soaking wet with some boots on. I promise you. I had no weight on me. I still don't. But okay. In my mind, they can't touch me. And if you touch me, game on. So they're yelling at me. And I guess they thought I was gonna break, but I didn't. And they finally decided to let me go up with everybody else. So I get up there, and this is gonna have to be a part two. I'm gonna have to tell y'all the story of my first night in basic training. It's just stay tuned. But this is the story of how I became a veteran. And so I became a veteran because when I graduated high school, having limited options and support and resources, I had to think of an alternative. I had to think of another way. And that other way led me to join the military. I didn't say I was going to join the military because I wanted to serve my country. I didn't say I wanted to join the military because I wanted to go to war. I didn't say I wanted to join the military because I'm just so patriotic and I love America. No. I said I wanted to join the military because I needed a way of life. I needed a way out. I needed to find myself. I needed to find stability. I needed to have somewhere where I can begin my life and build my life into what it was that I was trying to do. That's why I joined the military. And um, that all happened while serving in the military, among other things that, you know, added value to maybe, yes, maybe I am proud um, of, you know, the country I do live in. Maybe I am a little bit more patriotic. Maybe I am a little bit more in tune with who actually gives us freedom of this nation. Maybe I am more in tune now of appreciating the others that stood right beside me to join, probably not for the same reasons, but still did it, knowing that the cause of the greater good could have cost us our lives, and we still did it. And that's another topic, but another question. But we still did it. And that's honestly how I became a veteran. That was it. It was nothing more or less than that. So, this is my story. This is the story of how I became a veteran. Stay tuned to hear more about my war stories with Nat Martin because it gets interesting after that. Y'all stay tuned. Be blessed. And this is your girl, Nat Martin.